Hey guys, I'm Sebastian at Performance Play Sports Care in Costa Mesa, California. I'm going to cover 3 of my favorite exercises for lower back pain, and today we're going to do a modification of the squat. And I know a lot of you have probably been dealing with lower back pain with squatting, and so I'm going to provide some variations you can do and tell you how you can use them. And so the first thing you probably notice, so this is going to be my barbell today. The first thing to note is that many of you will have stories or have friends that have stories of getting hurt while back squatting. Okay? That is your choice to back squat. You don't need to back squat to be in good shape, and you don't need to back squat to be physically able. And so the back squat is a unique exercise that will, similar to a good morning, which uses the spine as a lever. It puts a lot of torque on the spine. It's not that you can't do it, it's just you're taking some of the risk with it as well. And so when we're doing this, I'll show you what I mean by this leverage point a little bit here. If you imagine me jacking a car up here, and so this is the end of the jack, and this is, so that's the jack arm, and here's the area of the jack, or at least in this case the spine. The further the spine is away from where the weight is, in this case the back squat's about here. If we draw a line straight down and we go across, this is our moment arm here. Okay. Now we could vary this exercise by trying to get a low bar back squat, which might change a little bit, versus a high bar. A good morning's pretty aggressive with that. And also too, we can also change where the implement is being placed. In this case, we can still stick with a barbell, but doing something like a back squat, or we'll do a front squat instead. Sorry, we're having some zoom issues on the camera, or blur issues, so I'm gonna keep looking at it to see and try to catch them. But you'll still get good information out of this video. So as a front squat, notice that the bar now keeps my chest a little bit more upright because it's anteriorly or front loaded, okay? And if you draw a line straight down of where the bar's at versus where the spine's at, now we have a shorter distance here versus here. This is longer. And that's why I'm saying you can take the choice if you want to do it or not. But one of the easiest things you can do for your back in regards to, without having to think too much about how to do things, change the exercise dramatically, a front squat might be a possibility. So still a knee dominant movement. Anything within the squatting category with a lot of knee bend is a knee dominant squatting movement. So just considerations with the front squat. Now, you should keep tension. This isn't too light, it's a little rough to show other than choking myself, but you should push your elbows upward. That'll keep tension in the bar. Or you can take the fingertips and push the fingertips to the ceiling. Obviously, you won't be pushing the bar too far, but push the bar to the ceiling with the fingertips, and that should help out with tension of the shoulder blade area through the squatting pattern. Now, some of you say, well, like my wrist hurts when squatting and doing front squatting. You can do like a genie squat, or you can do like a Frankenstein style, like here, right? The fact of the matter is the shoulder's forming the shelf, and it should feel like it's almost choking you in this regard. And so this is a modification we give for a lot of people dealing with back pain if they're back squatters, and if they want to get back to back squatting, that's fine. This is just something we use as a way to keep load within the hips and lower body in the squatting pattern while we're letting that back squat heal itself up, okay? Because they can typically go back to back squatting. Now, another option too, if you're not married to the idea of barbell lifting, is we can do something called a goblet squat. And a goblet squat is very safe for most people. If you want to do it on the lighter end, this is a 26-pound kettlebell. And so you can get deeper into the squatting pattern most of the time, and it keeps you more upright. Typically what we're looking to do is put the elbows onto the knees, all right? And so by doing this, we keep this in a goblet position, all right? Usually, now there's going to be the conversation about should I have butt wink or not, all right? And this is the thing where there's a big debate going on if a butt wink is appropriate. And so the butt wink is when you kind of dump a little bit towards the deep part of the squat. Now, a butt wink is technically a lumbar flexion. And so lumbar flexion is not a bad thing. It's a normal thing. It's something you should be able to do, yet the perfect form conversation comes along when we're talking about load. When you put load in the situation, such as you're back squatting 300 pounds, all of a sudden you have less movement options and you should not be butt winking. So I would keep in a range where you don't have that. Yet if we're doing something like a goblet squat with lighter weight, you can certainly do that, and it's not bad. you'll access deeper ranges of the squat. You'll get different musculature of the hips working. The adductors will get more active in that range, and you'll get a lot of benefit from getting deep, actually. And so a lot of people won't actually have any back pain with this. And so even if they've had like some back issues in the past. And so we're just going to go here and here. Find the deep range. Pause there. Drive your feet through the floor. TP, feet to the floor, and so on. So that's option 2. Front squat, option 1, barbell, or variations of that front squat. Option 2 is anterior loaded goblet squat. And the last thing we can do is we can take basically the spine into a more neutral position and kind of lock it there via a split stance here. Now I know some of you are going to say, oh, that's a lunge. I don't want to do lunges. Well, this is a knee dominant movement, okay? And so rather than lunging across the gym, we're going to stay in one spot. We're going to act like everything around you is not your property, and we're going to stay right here, okay? Now you can front load this thing, or you can put it on the opposite side, usually is the one that I stick with, but you can go over here too. This is actually easier on this leg than it is having the opposite side. But for beginners, a goblet hold is actually pretty good. Now, we're just going to push our head straight through the ceiling. This is an elevator movement, straight up and down. Notice, for safety reasons, as we kind of mentioned with the spine aspect, is right now my spine is just straight up and down through the entire exercise in this case. Now, if I wanted to do a little bit more aggressive into this front foot, which is still okay, we've still got a low moment arm here, all right? So relatively, we're keeping the spine into a locked neutral position versus going too much into flexion or extension. And so we're keeping it very honest while we can still load the hips, all right? So I usually have people do the back leg on a block. I'll demo that now. We'll do that contralateral opposite arm hold here, just like this. Okay? Now, just a slight modification on this one. This might be overkill with this video, but we should probably do another video about split squatting here soon. Is there's going to be some people who are like, I feel this in my groin, or I feel it in my hamstring. It's going to be important here, if you take a look at the foot should be grounded and rooted in at all times. I don't know if I could, there you see my foot. So it should be grounded and rooted in at all times, and I want you to shift. And this is why the value of having this weight here on the opposite side is so good, is because this loads you so you can shift away. And so if you shift away, you load more into that glute, but you shouldn't lose the foot contact. Some people do this kind of weird stuff. And so they let everything drift out with it. I want to keep you buried in right there. And if you try this with me, try this one with me. Kneel right here. Shift into the outer part of the foot. Don't lose the inner part. And I want you to only focus on trying to push the heel. Don't lose the rest of it. Push the heel through the floor like you're trying to break through the concrete. I don't want you to get up. Just push the heel through the floor. And all of a sudden you'll be like, oh man, I got glutes there. Or you'll feel some quad. But a lot of you feel the glutes there. And so it's hard to tension through the floor. And so that's the basics of getting out of the deep range with the split squat, but you can just use a similar application with a goblet squat, front squat, or back squat. So the fact of the matter is, a lot of people lose their tension through the movement, and that's why they end up having pain and dumping in the low back. So this is a series, if you haven't figured it out already. So there's other videos just like this. They go over modifications as well as my real 3 favorite exercises, because all of my 3 favorite, as you can probably tell. It's a joke. So they're all good. And it really depends on how the coaching happens with them. So if you're struggling with low back pain, we'd love to help you out. We're in Costa Mesa, California, and we offer virtuals as well as in person. And as you can see through the video, as long as if you felt something productive on this, we can coach you via video. You're coachable. And so we don't need to put our hands on you. And usually with low back pain, we don't need to put our hands on you to make you feel better at all. And so I want you to start now. Let us help you and just contact us. The second option, if you're not ready for that, is at least get the free offer that I have for you, which is the free book. I ask that you pay for the shipping. It's down at the bottom, links at the bottom, and it's probably going to come across the top here at some point too. Get the book. I spent a lot of time writing down what a roadmap would be that just helps you guys through what you have to do, what you should be doing, rather than getting distracted by all these other things that are just old news. You know, old things that used to work 20 years ago, but they found that there's better stuff now. But for some reason, it's still written up out there. So Dr. Google still has that old stuff on there. So as you can see, we release videos 3 times a week. So this is all new stuff. So please take this in light that it was intended. Do these if they feel good. Get the book, subscribe to the channel. You're very close to getting better. Most people don't need meds. Most people don't need surgery. Let us help you out. Talk to you soon.